Boosh is a plant-based meal. It's a gateway for folks that want healthy, nutritional, non-GMO, gluten-free, healthy meals on a heat and eat type of basis. So it's designed for the family. It's designed for the folks that are busy working. That's our key audience right there.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews.
Hi and welcome back to the show that gets you in front of your best audience and keeps you there. My name is Rick Nuske. I'm your host. It's wonderful to have you here. Now, if this is your first time, you are in for a treat because I'm on the line with the wonderful Jim Pakulis, who is the CEO of Boosh Foods. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks for having me.
It's absolutely wonderful to have you here. Now, we've been talking a little bit about, I guess, the beverages that you're currently sipping on. What time is it where you're currently at? Late in the day?
6 p.m. Mountain Time.
Oh, fantastic. Beautiful time of the day. The end of the day, you've done the hard work, and we're going to be talking about all of the hard work that you've been doing with Boosh Foods. And importantly, before we do any of that and jump into the core of the call, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and how you got involved with it. But I guess a great place to start the conversation, Jim, is where you're located.
Utah. I'm in the U.S. Yep, I'm located in Utah.
Fantastic. So has that been home for you for a long time?
Yes. Or? Yeah, off and on. Yeah, off and on. When you, at least for me, when I've been CEO of an emerging small publicly traded company, you spend more time on the road than you do at the house.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to go out and meet a lot of people, a lot of great investors and shareholders. So, but yeah, I enjoy the high desert.
And we're going to be talking a lot about everything that you are doing because you are certainly busy. That's for sure and certain. But before we do any of that, I wonder, what do you like to do in your pastime? Do you have much downtime? And when you do have downtime, what do you do with it?
In where I live, it lends itself to outdoor activity. You just want to be outside. We have tremendous mountains and mesas and everything from lakes where you can water ski to rivers. 45 minutes from my house, even though it's the high desert here, it gets 115 in the summer. 45 minutes, you could be snow skiing.
Oh, wow!
Cedar Break. So it offers a lot.
Are you a snow skier, or is that your main sport, or?
I roll down the hill pretty good.
I could do that too. Well, let's do that together. That'd be easy. We'd have a great time, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's about the best I can do.
When you were growing up, I'd love to rewind time a little bit. Do you remember growing up where you're located, and what's one fond memory that you could share with us of that time?
So I grew up in the East Coast. I grew up in upstate New York.
Oh wow!
And yeah,
starkly different.
Very much so. That's when snow drifts were real snow drifts.
Yes.
And you'd walk 4 miles in bare feet and snow to your hips. Yeah, it was fantastic. We lived on near one of the Finger Lakes, so just spending a lot of time on the Finger Lakes, which was great. Mm-hmm. A lot of just kid stuff at a beautiful lake with a lot of beautiful people growing up.
That's excellent. Now we talk about beautiful people growing up. A lot of those people are the same people that influence us and help shape us to become the individuals that we grow into. Who in your life helped form your, I guess, your perception of the world?
I feel like I'm on the couch here.
I bet you're not getting charged for it. There you go.
Good point. Very difficult for me to point to one individual. Obviously, parents had tremendous influence. 4 siblings. I was the youngest of 5. Tremendous influence. So I would just say it's a learning block, right? It's a stepping stones. It's learning blocks as you go along, and you gravitate to some people, or another analogy is tributaries, right? Everyone has a kind of a tributary, and we all end up in the ocean. And as you go along, you just meet really cool people, and so it's hard for me to say that there was one particular person that really, like, holy cow, significantly influenced me with just a tremendous amount of really neat people in my world.
I do appreciate it, and it is contextual and it is relevant because it leads to a point. And I wonder, as you were growing up, did you recognise that you had a passion for business, or did you have an entrepreneurial streak? Where did it come from, do you think? This idea of getting into business.
It's a great question. No, I had no concept. No idea. Grew up on the certainly below the medium income. So appreciate every dollar. But no, went to school, graduated from Ohio State University. In fact, when I first went to classes, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I first went to business classes and didn't really take to that. I went to mathematical and on the third day where you had to declare, I walked into a building and it was a beautiful fall day at Ohio State, and the windows were open and the curtains were flapping, and I walked in and there was like 30 to 40 beautiful women, and it was an English class, and I said, I'm going to major in English. So, no, I had no grandeurs of running IBM.
No, well, there you go.
Grandeurs of illusion.
And I really do appreciate this, because we do have a lot of startup entrepreneurs and existing small to medium-sized business owners who are listening into the show, and they get a lot of value out of learning more about the people just as much as they do about the business. So therein lies the reason for the context. So I appreciate it. Now, in terms of your daily routines, we live in a fairly tumultuous world at the moment. Is travel being affected for you? How do you operate at the moment? Is it mostly via technology like Zoom calls today? How does a day look like for you?
For me, so I'm old, so I like old school. I like just telephone calls.
Imagine that.
But because I need to do Zoom calls, I do Zoom calls, and which is fine, no problem. So I do spend a significant amount of time on the phone. Since mid-August, we were able to go up to Canada. So I've been, it's towards the end of September now, I've been up to Canada twice. Meeting with investors, meeting with shareholders, doing presentations, meeting with everyone at HQ, meeting with co-packers, manufacturers, etc. And so I'm committed to doing that, on a monthly basis for 1, 2, sometimes 3 weeks going forward, to making sure we grow Boosh. And just one thing I wanted to add: having done this before, I know the importance of getting out there. Yeah. Phone calls are great, Zooms are fantastic, but you got to get out there. That's how I feel anyway. There's
that touch point, that human connection, isn't there?
100%.
Now, is that, when you're doing this, I think for the sake of everybody understanding what Boosh is all about, could you share a little bit about Boosh? What actually is
I'd love
Boosh?
To. Yes, let's talk about Boosh.
Let's talk about that.
I'd much rather talk about Boosh instead of me. The Boosh is a plant-based meal. It's a gateway for folks that want healthy, nutritional, non-GMO, gluten-free, healthy meals on a heat and eat type of basis. So it's designed for the family. It's designed for the folks that are busy working. Kids come home from school, from theater, from soccer, from whatever. Everyone's hungry, but people want to go ahead and eat something that may be healthier than what previously was offered. That's our key audience right there. It's the term is flexitarians. So we're not necessarily going after the vegans or the vegan or the vegetarians, but in fact the flexitarians in the marketplace wanting to have something healthy that may complement their chicken or their beef or their steak on their plate, but a really nice plant-based meal. And Boosh offers that to consumers.
So what attracted you initially? What was the thing that, made Jim sit up and go, you know what, this is for me. I reckon I could get involved with this and help out.
Yeah, great question. So we have a very small team that we enjoy finding small privately held companies, assisting them if they meet our metrics, providing financing, taking them through the public stage, helping them create the solid infrastructure to take it to the next level. So we looked at about 50 roughly 50 different companies over a year and a half. Agnostic, wasn't particularly interested in any particular sector as long as it hit our benchmarks. And we came across the plant-based industry and saw that there was huge upside, did a lot of research on it. And then we were fortunate enough to meet with Connie Marples, the founder of Boosh. And she exceeded all of our metrics. It was fantastic. And Connie has if you don't mind, I'll just roll
absolutely
right into her background. So Connie has a strong background in the food industry. In fact, in the early 2000s, she had a very successful wine bar, one of the first ones in Vancouver, and it was on the short list of the Condé Nast's Best Restaurant in the World award. So she knows what it's like to be at the top of the game, knows how to handle people, knows operations. Fast forward 2017, 2018, she wanted to get into the plant-based arena. She's a celiac, and it's very important for the quality of the food that she eats and the type of food she eats. And a lot of her friends were reaching out to her, wanting plant-based foods. Yeah. And so she first started with an app, and then she said, I'm just going to start creating these. Aligned herself with a co-packer in Greater Vancouver, and in her Boosh mobile, she started going around with her frozen meals to the various stores in her neighborhood, and they loved it, and they loved her product. She created 6 beautiful frozen products. And so that was the origin of Boosh. She was literally Connie, our Canadian food broker, who then introduced us to Unify. We're able to get into close to 400 stores. Oh wow! Just between the 3 of them up in Canada. So it's a wonderful Cinderella story, and it's just great working with Connie, her husband Lance, and they're still busting tail 10, 12 hours a day. So it's good to know that an insider that owns roughly 28% of the company is still busting tail to make it happen.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Love these success stories. They're not overnight, are they? They certainly take a lot of work and tenacity and ongoing commitment. Now, what are your, I guess, your strategic views of Boosh, and how are you playing that side of the game?
Well, I think let's look at a macro standpoint. Mm-hmm. So Bloomberg came out with a report a couple months ago, that the valuation about $1.4 trillion of the plant-based industry by 2050. So using that as a backdrop, I don't see this being a trend. I see this truly being a disruptive movement throughout our food industry, going from animal protein to plant-based protein. Who's driving it? It's millennials, the Gen X's, the Gen Z's. They care about what they put into their bodies far more than we did when we were their age. Oh, yeah. They certainly care about the animal kingdom, certainly care about planet Earth. So when you combine those elements, it's a very strong, beautiful, righteous force wanting to move forward. So therein lies, I think why the transformation is taking place. Have there been plant-based foods before? Yeah, in the States anyway, for 15, 20 years. Perhaps not the tastiest meals. I think Beyond Meat really broke through with their products. We have a beautiful alliance with Beyond Meat. Very happy with it. One of the few that actually has an alliance. We use them in some of our products. But they broke through, and they're arguably the world-renowned company producing plant-based foods to restaurants now. A variety of restaurants. I don't know if it's Beyond Meat, but Starbucks, McDonald's, Burger King's, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut. Everyone has some form of plant-based foods in their pizzas or hamburgers or whatever. Yep. So when you combine all of that, and then you look at the industry, and you look at Connie, and you look at Boosh, and then how we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, it's a wonderful combination, and those were the catalysts or the elements for us to happily move forward with Boosh.
You can tell, there's a difference between a trend and a movement. And this is very much a movement. So it's going to be around for a long time. And I think about that sort of question. I think, well, you're in North America now. What are your plans for expansion?
Right after we became affiliated with Boosh, we had our Canadian broker call over to Europe thinking, hey, why can't we take this worldwide? Mm-hmm. And we spoke with that broker in Europe. And he said, you're about 8 years behind the curve because they're so progressive as it relates to plant-based movements throughout Europe. Mm-hmm. From a business standpoint, the margins are compressed. There's a huge body of different options. So we'd be swimming against the tide if we tried to do it. Okay, use that as a basis.
Yep.
Then, okay, let's explore just Canada and the U.S. Canada, in my humble opinion, is a couple of years ahead of the United States as it relates to plant-based foods. So as far as expansion, we certainly want to go ahead and continue and expand throughout Canada. There's roughly 15,000 grocery stores in Canada. We're only in 400. We went ahead and put together, what I believe is a small, solid professional sales team. We're growing that sales team in Canada, and we'll do that also in the United States. So we want to continue to expand. United States has 42,000 grocery stores. We haven't even touched the surface there. So in short, we want 4 revenue streams. 1, organic through the natural sales progression and growing into new stores. 2, acquisitions. We've already done several acquisitions just in a relatively short period of time of 2 beautiful plant-based food companies. 3, e-commerce. We signed up with shopvegi.com recently in order to begin supplying our plant-based foods on an e-commerce platform. And then 4 would be through Thrive, which is the food broker we hired in the United States to introduce us throughout the United States.
I'm interested. Do you know where the name Boosh came from?
Connie can tell you the story much better than me. Two different definitions. So the formal, more traditional definition is and I'm sure I'm going to screw this up, so apologies in advance. But bouche having to do with the mouth in French, right? And then the urban definition has to do with love and joy of eating and happiness and a good vibe.
It seems to me that the e-commerce space would be a massive one, especially now that a lot of people, because of the situation globally, they're forced to do a lot of online shopping. What are you seeing in that respect? Do you see that that's going to be a big part of the Boosh experience?
We're not seeing anything yet because we're not there yet. We're just we're about to commence. But yes, I do see that. I see that it could be a very large experience. One thing that I harp on regularly is making sure we execute, making sure the fundamentals and the foundation is built. I don't want a trip going out the front door. We have a tremendous amount of interest from the U.S. through Thrive, but we don't want to do a buckshot approach. We don't want to screw up. We only have 1 shot at Costco. You don't get 2 shots at these big players. So we have to make sure, getting back to your question in regards to the opportunities for e-commerce, yes, I think it's exponential potential growth there, but we have to make sure everything we do internally is aligned in order to reach those goals and expectations.
Can I just ask, please, Jim, just for further clarification and context, your background is fairly significant in this space and being involved, taking companies public. Can you share us a little bit about your experiences in doing this sort of work?
Sure. And just for clarity, I don't have much experience in the food industry. This is my first dance at the dance hall. Beautiful. In the food industry, and so and it's wonderful. But I do have a background of over 10 years. I was one of the first individuals to take a cannabis company public back in 2010. Fast forward, I've been in the corner suite, either president or CEO for numerous publicly traded companies. One of the biggest lessons I have learned is in regards to trying to create as non-dilutive a company as possible from the corporate side. And if you don't mind, I'd like to segue into that for a second.
Sure.
I think the key to success is making sure you are aligned with your shareholders. So we try to be as non-dilutive as possible. What does that mean? We don't go to the market as an IPO, not an RTO, but an IPO. We don't go with 50 to 100 million shares outstanding. Rarely do you hear of a company doing an IPO with less than 16 million shares. We did it with barely, just about 16 million shares. But we also love the shareholder base. We brought in over 1,100 shareholders for our very small IPO, 2.85 million IPO. We had 1,100 shareholders. Why is that important for your listening audience? Is because we want to create an even playing field, a balanced playing field. We don't have any institutional money. We don't have 3 guys in the corner or hedge funds with a $1 million position each that can blow out the whole cap table and ruin everyone's day and week and month. So we try to be as non-dilutive. As an example, my compensation is warrants. I have to pay 50-cent warrants. So I'm the CEO. I get no salary, no commish. So I align myself with the shareholders. I work full time for the company, for the shareholders, for the board of directors, and I do everything I can to push Boosh forward to make sure it succeeds. So it isn't as if Boosh fails, it's okay, no problem. I'm taken care of on the other side. That ain't the case with me. I'm aligned 100%. So it gets you up early in the morning.
I bet it does. Yeah, well, I love this sort of this journey story, because it is actually a journey that you are on, and you're building a culture and a community behind this wonderful brand. I wonder, just tapping in the back of my mind, was it 6 products that you currently have?
Sure, we have 6. Yep, we have 6 frozen products that we originally rolled out. In late July, early August, we rolled out 3 refrigerated products: mushroom gravy, sloppy Joe, and chili. And then we're anticipating mid to late fall, to have our shelf-stable product, which is a plant-based mac and cheese on the shelves. So if you take a step back, look at the different quadrants or sections of a grocery store: frozen, refrige, shelf-stable, and then produce. I don't think we'll ever be in produce, who knows? But for now, we want to concentrate on those 3 different segments of the grocery store, and we want to make a dent. We want to be disruptive. It's a blank canvas out there, I think, as a way in the plant-based industry. I don't see this as being a sum-zero game, sum-zero being the equal party has to lose in order for an equal party to win. I see this as a win-win for a lot of different folks out there that are willing to do the hard work, that have a good product that over the next 2 to 3 years could do tremendously well with their products.
Now, there has to be good leaders in the picture here for this to work, and you're certainly in the frame, and you obviously have your founder. I'm wondering if we could take a little bit of a deeper dive into the actual management team behind the scenes. Is that at all possible?
Absolutely. In the frame, I'll be in the left far back corner. So let's put out Connie Marples again. We chatted about her earlier with the success with her ongoing capabilities of operations and management, employee. We brought in Ali Samai. Ali, 20 plus years of experience, primarily in the natural food industry. And he has tremendous success stories. He first started off doing about a half a day a week with us. He's now up to 2.5 days a week with us. Fingers crossed we can bring him across the line for some more time. Ali is the individual that has helped build the infrastructure of all the necessary parts in order for us to take it to the next level. The quality assurance, the operations, making sure that the co-packer manufacturer is meeting their metrics to satisfy our goals, so we get to go ahead and push the products out. So Ali is the one that's building the bench for us, and he's just a wonderful individual. When we first got involved with Boosh, one of the things I saw is, okay, with Connie, Food Broker, and Unify, we were able to get into 400 stores. Imagine if we had a great professional sales force. So we've spent a lot of time, and it's been difficult with COVID to find individuals that are willing to go back out into the field and work and get to the grocery stores and meet the managers. But we found some fantastic guys and gals to help begin to build our great sales force up in Canada. So all the pieces are coming together nicely. We have a couple more pieces we want to put together, but I think we'll satisfy that within the next 4 to 6 months to have a really strong HQ up in Canada. Co-packer is about 15 minutes from our HQ facility, so it's an easy stop to go in, check things out, get things done. As I mentioned, I live in Utah, so I'm relatively close to Vegas, so I can pop down there. I do go down there regularly, look at different manufacturing facilities for us to either look at or, knock on wood, acquire if all the stars line up. I love acquisitions because we want to have a good footprint. Just real briefly, if you think about it, Vegas, besides the immediate population of Vegas, great jumping off point for San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, within a 10-hour drive. So I like that as a manufacturing / distribution hub for Boosh as we continue to migrate south into the United States.
So Can I just ask you? I was wondering. We talked about millennials earlier and their motivators for taking up plant-based alternatives. Is that the only motivator? Are there any bigger forces at play here that make Boosh the right company for today?
The catalyst, I believe, are the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Xs, but I think the population in whole, with the exception of individuals that really have beautiful, strict diets, which I certainly don't, could benefit from some plant-based foods in their diet. Having the chicken sandwich there, but also having some of our plant-based mac and cheese, or maybe a little bit of a shepherd's pie on the side, something that complements the existing palate. So do we have a sweet spot in the marketplace? Yeah, anybody from 10 years to 90 years old, I think, is our sweet spot. Yeah. Anybody who wants to just have a little bit better food in their diet.
Anybody who has 2 feet and a heartbeat and looking for a better, healthier alternative, Boosh is certainly for you. Now, I wonder, when people are interested in getting involved, is there a community behind Boosh? Is there some sort of way to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our website, booshfood.com, and you can be directed to numerous communities. We have WhatsApp, Facebook, all sorts of different communities to jump into. So go to booshfood, singular, not plural.com. And again, we're trading on the CSC under VEGI, VEGI. Just recently, this month, got listed on, or got the DTC approval on the OTCQB, VGGIF. But please go to booshfood.com, and you'll be able to get as much information as you'd like about Boosh Food.
This has been a wonderful call, Jim. Thank you so very much. I'm very excited. I'm almost even hungry enough to look at the screen here. If you go to the website, it's certainly colourful. It has all the information you're ever going to want to see, no matter where you find this call. I'll be making sure that we have the links back to Boosh Food, singular, booshfood.com. And Jim, in closing, thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business show today.
Thank you so much, Rick. Great call. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.